Now, do you see any signs that the international community, in particular the United States, are taking steps to help Central African governments, Central African militaries fight the LRA effectively?
Well, the current policy seems to be to try and train the regional militaries into doing this job more effectively. And we have serious concerns about the effectiveness of that approach. As the recent
because it takes time. It takes time for one thing.
It takes time, and also, we're talking about very remote, inaccessible areas of Africa, and you need an expertise, you need logistics, you need good intelligence, you need to be able to pull those together in order to.
But your report also implies that you need material also. That seems to be one of the big problems. I think your report alluded, among other things, to the lack of cell phones, the lack of communication material, the lack of military equipment, quite frankly.
Military equipment's one factor, but also I think leadership is another. I mean, we have situations where Congolese army units, Ugandan army units, and United Nations forces are in close proximity but not communicating with each other. So we can start with some very simple approaches. But of course, the more logistical material support you can provide to operations, the more likely they are to succeed. But ultimately, you need people with the skills and expertise to deal with this kind of problem, and not just assume you can train African armies that don't have the expertise just to do that job very simply.
Is it a mean way to say that an international force, perhaps that the UN force, could do the job? Of course, there's a very large UN force in Congo, and it hasn't always been able to protect civilians.
Yes, I think we're not military experts, so wouldn't be prescriptive about how that should be balanced or how it should be made up. But clearly there are countries in the world with expertise in this area who could be doing more. Clearly, when the UN is saying it doesn't have enough intelligence support in northern Congo, there are countries that might offer that intelligence support. Clearly, when we need more logistics, there are already 1,000 UN troops in northern Congo, notably from the Monarch force that was supposed to be in eastern Congo in the Kivus. There are troops there, but maybe logistics need to be enhanced. So there's a number of ways that this mix can be improved.
What are you hearing from the Obama White House and from the US Congress concerning future steps to be taken against the LRA, to the extent that you're hearing anything, really?
Well, we're hearing a fair amount. I think there's a greater degree of interest now than there has been for a while, at least at looking at comprehensive regional strategies and greater US commitment to addressing this problem. We're seeing a bill, for example, in the Congress, which is obliging, if you like, the Obama administration to put together that kind of strategy. So it's good to see that engagement
and to report to Congress regularly.
And to report to Congress regularly, which is also important, so we get better information flows about what's being done, better sharing of ideas. And it's also good to see from the conversations we've had a greater degree of attention on this problem at senior levels in the administration. So we're optimistic, but again, I think the question comes down to actually putting your money where your mouth is, and also putting sometimes your expertise where your mouth is.